Afternoon, everyone. So today we are planning to talk about what we call unified commerce. And while the term is still evolving, we'll take our chances to explain what we mean by unified commerce and how we see this evolving over the next couple of years in the Indian retail industry. But before that, I would just request all my panelists to introduce themselves briefly and also share their views on what and how they see unified commerce is as it evolves into the Indian retail sector. Over to Vikram.
Hi everyone, so I'm Vikram Idnani. I head technology for Reliance Retail. Should I just go ahead and talk about my view or we do the intro?
Hi, my name is Rajiv Nair. I am the Group CEO of Kaya Limited. We run about 95 dermatological centers in India and about 25 in the Middle East. Happy to be here.
Good afternoon, friends. My name is Rajesh Jain. I work for a brand called Lacoste. I'm the Managing Director and CEO for Lacoste for India operations.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Subir Agarwal. I'm founder and CEO of Reciprocy, an experience commerce platform. I've been in the digital space for the last 20 years while launching the first personal finance portal or irctc.co.in, whatever you see in that. So I've been part of the digital journey for India the last 20 years.
Hi, this is Vijay Talreja. I am the co-founder of a company called Adaptive. We are experts in digital commerce solutions and services. We work with quite a few retailers in US, Middle East, and India. We've been the omni-channel experts for a very long time, building stores for Walmart, for Dow Jones, and many other retailers in the US, and even then doing some work in India with Fab India and the likes of it. So very happy to be here to talk about how omni-channel is becoming more unified channel now, and what is it that is a differentiator between how an omni-channel sees powers the unified channel commerce.
So before we get into the discussion, I thought we'll just set the stage right and put the basics in place when we talk about unified commerce. See, if you take a look back over this past couple of years, the retail sector in India has evolved dramatically. And we are at a stage today where an omni-channel play, organizations reaching out to customers and meeting customers across the brick and mortar stores to online channel, mobile, and so on. That omni-channel play has become very important for players across the consumer sector. Now, how we see this evolving, when we talk to, let's say, consumers, we understand almost 80% of the consumers believe that an experience which is common across and integrated across platforms is an essential element of their expectation of a brand or of a company. And that's something that's driving them to consider brands as we go forward. Similarly, when we talk to the supply side of the equation, the retailers, the brands, we understand that they're at a very different level of the journey when we talk about the integration across their supply chain and across their systems on the omni-channel play. So just to set it right or set the context clear, when we say omni-channel, when we say unified commerce, we are saying it's a set of systems and integrated supply chain dimension that helps you make your omni-channel play effective, that makes sure that the customer sees the brand and the organization in a uniform way, and also the brand and the organization sees the customer in a uniform way across its different touch points with the customer. From that, I'll move on to Vikram to express his views and how he sees this into the Indian market.
Yeah, so as I was having a chat with Amit prior to this session, a little bit of a contrarian view on unified commerce. I feel that it's just one more buzzword that has come in, and it's driving maybe retailers who are already implementing or trying to implement omni-channel into saying, do a little bit more. You're not doing enough. That's my personal view on unified commerce. However, I'll just talk through what I think omni-channel is, and then I'll just share a view on what I think unified commerce could be. It could mean different things for different people. Anyway, omni-channel is basically, in my view, a single view of the customer across my various channels that I sell to my customer, and a single view of inventory. So when I say single view of inventory, I don't mean all your inventory sits in one warehouse, but what it means is that any inventory sitting in any of your warehouses is visible to all your channels as one piece, okay? So that's really what omni-channel is: single view of customer, single view of inventory, and with that information, you are then able to provide a consistent experience to your customer, because now you have access to that single customer across multiple channels. That is the omni-channel definition ideally. Now, unified commerce, in my personal view, would be maybe pushing it a little further to say maybe even single view of vendor possibly. And I'll take an example. So for example, if I've got a retail store chain where I have a supplier who drop ships products to a certain store, let's say in Bangalore, okay? But this same supplier does not provide product to my warehouse in Delhi, which serves, say, my online play. So which means this vendor is now not supplying, is supplying to my store, but not supplying to my online channel. I would ideally want to have single view of my vendors so that I'm able to then say, okay, who's going to supply to my online channel and who's going to supply to offline. So essentially, I think it's probably single view of vendor in addition to whatever we are already doing, which is inventory and customer. So I think unified commerce is more about just doing your whole business in a unified way, having visibility to everything as a single entity. That's my definition of it. Yeah.
No, I think I'm not going to hazard another definition of unified commerce, but I think we've got two technical definitions on the subject. I'll give you a practical example of how we realize there is a need for us to understand our customers across channels. Basically because online is a reality, and online is something that is growing at a much, much faster pace than physical retail. Okay, so obviously whether we tend to ignore as traditional retailers online, we cannot afford to do it anymore. I think we should have started the journey much earlier. I'll give you a small example. We do about 30,000 plus consultations every month in our clinics, where doctors actually meet consumers and they do a skin analysis. Now, a lot of this data actually gets stored in the past in rudimentary therapy records on paper. In the last few years, we started doing a digitalization of this data. Data started coming in the form of a computerized record for each customer. Now what happens is there is a lot of detail in this data which can help us understand that customer very well, and in terms of the skin concern that customer actually comes up with. But that consultation and that outcome is restricted to the physical environment of that small clinic, say 1,500 square feet of space. What happens to that customer when she moves out of that environment and gets out into the online space? How we can influence her buying decision using the information that we have created of a consultation inside the clinic. So I'll give you a example which today is hypothetical because I'm working on that journey. As of today, we have not reached that journey. The minute she lands into our web page and starts interacting with the brand today, a lot of queuing of product purchase can actually happen online using the consultation data that is captured in the clinic. So for example, somebody is looking for a moisturizer purchase on our online space, and she has a dry skin, and the data of that is captured in her account information while she's got her consultation. While 3 different product styles of moisturizers would be available, the system can actually queue to that customer that this particular moisturizer is the one for your skin. It could be a dry skin, it could be an oily skin, or whatever else put together. It could be the other way around also, the fact that people have started exploring the journey of the brand Kaya on the internet website using products, and as part of that we could queue the customer saying the fact that through algorithms build simple questionnaires for customers to understand their basic concerns, and then reach out to them saying the fact that there is a journey beyond products into services, and for those services please visit our clinic. Now, can we have a single window view of that customer from coming from the offline to the online, and the online to the offline is something that we need to do. That's a journey that we need to look at. So what we're trying to do, first of all, as I would say traditional thinking retailer to a modern retailer, is to build a single platform across these two channels. So we are actually creating what we call as re-platforming, virtually getting off from multiple disparate systems that we have into a single window view across online and offline. So we are in that journey right now. It's going to take us another 6-8 months time, but that's the aspiration that we have as us. And that's my view of unified commerce.
Good afternoon. So unified to me mainly relates to the customer. So I will talk about the customers first, and then we'll probably talk about the unified commerce also. And if we look at the customer, today's customer is an informed customer. And they also have several choices, unlike the past. Now this customer, with the help of internet, even before they want to go to buy a product, they do the research with the help of internet. And with that, they bring their own devices, their own apps, and a lot of other tools which are outside the ecosystem. These type of customer, not only they know what product or what services they want to consume, they know exactly how they want to consume these services or products. And that is where the requirement of unified commerce also comes in. I will touch upon the unified commerce later, but let me start with the first pain area that a lot of retailers, including us, had earlier, which is when the customers used to walk into either the offline store or online e-com website, if the product is not available, the customers would turn away. And they would turn away perhaps for life, because they would form an opinion about that brand, about that retailer. Omni-channel, to some extent, because what omni-channel did is they mapped the entire inventory for online, offline, multi-channel. And that problem of customer turning away because of the size or the product or the color is not available has been going away. It has not gone away completely, but I think surely but slowly, this problem is going away. Now, if we look at today's scenario, most of the retailers who are into the retail chains, they work in multi-channel formats. So, for example, if we take Lacoste in India, so we are practically available in all the feasible formats for an international premium brand in India. So we are there, we have our own EBOs, we are in select MBOs also. We are offline, we are online through our own website, and we are online through third-party marketplaces also. We are in travel retail, we are in city retail. We have company-owned model, we have franchisee model also. However, if you look at, and these are so many channels that it becomes difficult for retailer themselves to manage properly. But if you look at it from customer's perspective, customer is not concerned which channel he is approaching or she is approaching. That customer only wants a complete experience of any channel. At any channel they go to, they want exactly the same experience. And that is where unified commerce would start coming in. Omni-channel, what they did is, they mapped the entire inventory. So this was more toward the supply side of the product. But unified commerce, if and when it comes, it's still in nascent stages even globally, so it is still to make any dent in India. Unified commerce would map the customer journey also. Right now we are mapping only the inventory, the back-end part of it, but unified commerce would be able to map the customer journey. Suppose if a customer walks into either an offline store or goes to an offline online website, and the customer takes something to the cart level, but ends up not buying it. Right now, that's a lost customer for us. We don't track him. At least the offline players don't track them. But unified commerce will be able to track that customer also with the help of the software solutions that we will have. And that is going to change the life completely for a lot of retailers and for a lot of customers also. Now, one can argue that why can't we have another software which can sit on the existing softwares that we all use, and one can make them talk to each other by APIs. But unified commerce, the best part it will do is to do away with the timing difference. Once it's an integrated system, the difference, because whenever you talk to two channels or two softwares through APIs, it takes a little time. Similarly, when you talk about omni-channel, when you map the inventories for the entire system, they take time, even if it's just half an hour and you build safety stocks for that half an hour, it takes time to integrate that inventory. Unified commerce, in my view, would be able to iron out all these timing differences, and that can prove to be lot beneficial for the retailers as well as the consumers who will get the customer delight. But of course, there are several challenges also. If time permits, I'll talk about them also later. But this is what I feel about unified commerce.
Good afternoon. I think you've heard four definitions of unified commerce. And there's actually a very fine or very little difference between omni-channel and unified. It's more on, I look at it, it's more on the way how you look at a consumer. Right? Omni-channel was trying to give a seamless experience to a customer. I can buy online, return offline. I can buy online, come back to offline, or see something, comes like that. But as a business, these systems were in silos, and business did not get a very single view of the customer. And that single view of the customer being translated to give him a unique experience in the store. Right? Let me try and give an example. When you go to an online world and you look at a digital channel and a good site, based on your past performances, based on what you have done on site, the product recommendation, the product knowledge, whatever is shown changes. In the offline world, when you walk into a retail store, it's the same display. Nothing is changing. Nothing can change dynamically. Right? How can the business then offer a unique experience to a different consumer? Right? The store sizes are becoming smaller. The SKUs are becoming larger. Right? The reports coming, 37% people walk out because they didn't see what they want. What they wanted to see, nobody knows. Right? They don't know. Now, the critical portion at that point of time is the store staff. You have the knowledge, he has the knowledge. Can that guy be provided a knowledge which helps him maybe greet the customer, welcome him back, and help him give the same experience that he would see on the physical world, digital world, sorry. He likes stripes, he likes solids, he likes colors. Can that be shown to him in that few minutes in real time so that the customer feels special, the customer gets an experience which is highly, highly personalized. Right? That is what unified commerce, in my opinion, keeping the customer having a 360-degree view across all channels and giving him that experience across all channels.
I wonder if I'll have a different definition. But before we really get into that, how many people actually have heard about this term unified commerce? Raise of hands. Anybody who heard about this before this? Very few, right? How many of you actually heard of omni-channel commerce? Yeah, quite a few, right? So now, based on, I think, a lot of the speak that has happened here, right? I mean, one thing probably is coming out very clear is that retailers have been doing omni-channel in India, right? And you know it as customers, retailers know it about it, and they've already done it, right? So why unified commerce? I mean, logically speaking, if you had multi-channel, which was, selling on multiple channels, why did you go omni-channel? It was obviously to make sure that, you're giving experience, you're managing your inventory, but at the same time, were you actually communicating to a customer in a very unified manner? So if you heard, a lot of this was all about customers, so it's about you. Now, you don't come to a store to think about, oh, I'm going to shop from a channel. You come to buy it from a brand here, right? So we, as retailers, we have to start even thinking that way. We have to start thinking, okay, you are as a customer, forget where are you shopping from. Now, to do that, everybody is saying that, yes, we need data. Now, how many of these channels actually give data? It's only your channel that will give data. Many times, if you are, say, selling on a marketplace, you get very limited or probably no information about the customer. So as a retailer, you have to decide or you have to take a choice whether you are going to be on a marketplace or you're going to drive your own brand commerce or you're going to sell on stores. So it really depends on the category that you are in. So it's very easy to do unified commerce, say, on an apparel, but if you are in a perishable good, it's very difficult to do. So end of the day, I think it is very, very important to understand where your customers are shopping and how you're communicating. Are you able to give a consistent message to them across your stores, across your online channel, across marketplaces, across social, across your app, or across anywhere else that you're interacting with them? Now, if that you are able to get it right, that is unified commerce. And if that converts into a commerce, you got it right then. So end of the day, unified, as Vikram was suggesting, it's a word that got coined, but somewhere experience is that driving this whole coined word and this concept becoming more advanced omni-channel, I would say, more integrated omni-channel. So that's generally how everybody is looking across the world. And given that we've done this with a few retailers in the US, and we are doing this even in India now. I mean, we deal with a retailer who has done this for maybe just one category, but you can't do it for all categories. So if you are a retailer, you need to think about what category you are in, what kind of customers are really coming to you, and what kind of messaging you have to do, and how you are able to convert that. Some of you would be able to convert customers more better in a social platform than really in a marketplace platform versus a store. So you need to figure out how that gets integrated and how you are really doing a messaging to eventually drive conversions. You're not doing it for some fancy stuff here, right? So that's really all I can say about Unified after everybody that's spoken about it. Go ahead.
Thanks, Vijay. As you can see and understand, unified commerce is something that is still, like when Vijay asked for a raise of hands, we could very clearly see it's not something that has made its mark, that is a known term. It's something which we are seeing as an enabler for omni-channel at the back end. And when we were talking about this, one thing Vikram mentioned, for example, was it's something that enables a unified view of the customer and of the inventory. So, Vikram, if you were to talk about what benefits
Retail store chain, okay, I have an online presence where I'm also selling my stuff online on my own platform, okay. Let's say that I'm a small retailer who has an offline presence and has also gone online. So as a small retailer who hasn't kind of had one single platform, I probably will manage inventory offline differently and online differently. If I manage my online and offline inventory separately, then I have wastage or markdowns and things that don't sell on the offline channel, on my stores. I will also have things that don't sell on my website, right? So you have wastage happening on both sides. If you have a common pool of inventory instead, you are then able to recommend to the customer that, hey, I have this product lying, basically it's a common inventory pool that is available for the online and offline, and you're able to optimize your inventory. You're able to even plan demand a lot better, because if that one red t-shirt, either it goes to a store or it goes to an online channel, that same red t-shirt is being used. It's not getting wasted somewhere. So that's the whole point, that on the supply side, it's a huge inventory optimization, and you will save a lot of money. And on the customer side, it's a very powerful tool to be able to recommend to customers. There are more benefits even on the logistics side, but I will not get into it. I think I'll have the other persons share their views.
I agree with all of that. So, rather than the transaction, I think the customer experience. Some years ago we were discussing in a similar panel here, and we were talking about, if online is growing so fast, what is the need for offline? After some time, just online takes over and offline just doesn't need to this. And then lots of theories came saying that the experience in a store has to determine whether people would want to come to a store or not want to come to a store. So I'm just trying to say the fact that now there seems to be a little bit more clarity and a little bit more integration. I'll give you an example why. Is that all of us, before getting into a store today, have started getting into a habit of researching a product or a service tremendously before coming into a store. So actually, virtually, we are serving what a salesperson used to do some time ago before we come into a store. In fact, we have almost made up our decision because we also want to save our time and effort and energy inside a store which is there. So I'll give you examples of the fact that if a lot of the questions that we asked earlier were rudimentary about which is the location of the store and how can I get to the store. In addition to that, if I could actually understand the customer a lot better through the online space, give you example again of the fact that customers today research 38 to 40% in our kind of a business after clinic hours, which means after the store is shut down, people are actually researching your brand. People are actually at their, like women, after their work, come back home, maybe at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, log on and find information. As part of that gathering of information, if we can personalize that experience a little bit more, ask a few more pieces of information from the consumer. It could be done completely using a chatbot, a AI tool, where you create algorithms, you ask the right questions, and by the time the customer has filled up that information and you have created an appointment for that customer, by the time the customer comes into the clinic, the clinic has complete information about that consumer. So then the clinic can actually plan what has to be recommended, what has to be discussed, what is that. Not just does it save time, but at least the conversation is a little bit more enriched than a conversation becoming very transactional. So I see there is a great benefit of customers actually putting up whatever conversations that they would like to have with a physical entity online, and then the personal experience that the clinic creates is what creates the joy or experience for the customer. I'll just extend to that. The same thing applies to the fact that whatever information is collected in a physical environment can be used easily to shop online, which means the quality of recommendations that actually happen on the online platform could be much better than what it is today. Because today I think it's completely, I would say, primarily intuitive without much information. So sometimes the recommendations that you receive may not be what you are really looking for. So I think that's something that can add. So I would say customer experience both on the online and the offline channel can improve if the quality of that integration is similar and there is a single window view of that customer across online and offline channels.
Thanks, Rajiv. In fact, just to take that point forward, one of the online jewelers that we worked with worked on a supply chain where if you are browsing on the website for a couple of, let's say, pieces of jewelry, you get messages and pop-ups saying, do you want to try this at your home during a certain hour where we can bring this product to you, you try this, if you like it, you buy it, otherwise you send it back. So that's the kind of integration we are talking about. In fact, when we were going through Subir, you talked about the unified commerce journey being very specific or customized to different product categories. Okay, and we are seeing some examples. So we heard what, for example, Kaya is doing, what some of the other guys are doing. So would you like to talk about some more on the dimensions of what different product categories would want to have on their unified commerce journey?
Thank you. As a product category, right, so there is a certain category in which if a consumer comes and sees it as a single-use product, right, he's coming, he's done his research, he's very specific about buying that, right? And then you have stuff which would be slightly more open-ended, it's fashion-oriented, right? It's a retail garment, for example. I'm looking for maybe just buy a shirt. Right? I have a very nebulous idea that it's just a shirt. Which kind of shirt, what material, what color, or maybe you will know I'm looking it for a party wear, or I'm looking it for something. Now these are attributes that are changing, or it's a season happening, it's coming, right? So products on which when you go down to certain attributes, right? And on those attributes, what would be specifically for, because business-wise, the SKUs are increasing. If a product had 10 options, it might have 50 today. Right? And the store size has become smaller. Real estate price is higher, right? So that discovery of that good on which as a consumer you're not sure of what you were looking for, right? That requires a recommendation engine, that requires input from the sales staff of present, from the website, from your app that is there to help a consumer go that. And other influence that comes here on this frame, and it's a product attributes and time, is push towards closure of a sale, right? You have campaigns, you have stuff running. Today, everyone gets lots of SMSs, right? You would have got certain offers, certain things sitting with you. You might not remember where in the shop, And the shopkeeper, the store staff, the store manager will also not know what are the relevant offers available to you, right? He can't recommend, he can't push or close a sale. Now, if all three of you, all two of you, both of you had that information really available, and you could push towards closure of that sale and influencing a decision, right? That is something very, very powerful. And that is increasingly, when we're working with customers, we're seeing increasing the wallet size, the repeat size, transactions, the visits to the consumer. That helps a lot.
Thanks, Subir. Also, when we were discussing about the unified commerce, and given that we discussed a lot about what benefits are there and what are the customer expectations, what organizations should expect, at one point, Rajesh, you also mentioned about some of the challenges that are there when we are moving towards unified commerce. So would you like to elaborate on that point?
Yeah, sure. I'm glad that so far we've been positioning unified commerce as if this were the panacea for all else, and if retailers get it, then we have achieved nirvana. I think there are certain limitations to unified commerce. As I said, it's in nascent stages, so whenever it comes to India and it gets implemented, there would be a lot of teething troubles for sure. The biggest problems that I see is that it would need huge investments. We are not talking about another solution, a software or a hardware solution, sitting on the top of our existing systems, because we're talking about an integrated, unified solution. That means it could also mean replacing your entire current systems, which will not come easy and which will not come cheap for sure. Second part that I really feel is that unified commerce would start compromising on customers' privacy also. We're talking about the customers entering into the physical stores, and as per my knowledge, unified commerce would mean that they would, on online, whenever we visit there, they drop cookies on our thing so that they can track where we are going. But on offline platform, you can't drop cookies on customer's head. What you use is mobiles. The moment you enter with the mobile, there will be a connection with the unified commerce with your mobile, and that will start tracking your journey within the store, which will start compromising on your privacy also. So those kind of challenges are surely likely to come. However, on the positive side, of course, draw an example. Earlier, all the retailers were doing a lot of marketing, which was not targeted marketing. We would give an ad in a print newspaper or a magazine and hopefully assume that this will reach out to my target audience. However, once digital marketing came in, we started doing targeted marketing. We knew that this is the customer whose life we want to touch. Similarly, in case of unified commerce, the best benefit that I see is when we start tracking customers' journey, we will be able to customize the solutions for that customer, and that will be the biggest benefit for unified commerce.
Thanks, Rajesh. In fact, when we were discussing at the backstage, Vikram also had a couple of perspectives on what challenges the migration to unified commerce would be there. Vikram, you want to talk about some of them?
Yeah, so I think while we're talking, theoretically about the whole single view of customers, single view of inventory, sounds very nice to hear, but the reality is in the execution of this whole thing, right? So I think one of the biggest challenges for any organization who does not have enough technological capability is to actually implement this. So it's very, very nice to say. So I think the first step that any organization needs to take is to have that single identifier of their customer, right? Whether it's online or offline. So first step, identify how are you going to know that this is that customer, okay, who walks into my store. How are you going to capture that identity of that customer in the store so that you can then start looking at offering them various options. So I think that's one big challenge to come to. What's that single identifier? And there are ways to solve that, of course. I think on the inventory side, delivering, so let's say I'm ordering online and dropping my product at store. I think one of the biggest challenges which a lot of small retailers face is that they are selling on marketplaces, Okay, they're selling on in their stores, they're selling on, let's say, their own e-commerce site, and then they're selling at marketplaces. A lot of marketplaces don't make that information about the customer visible to these small sellers. Okay, there are very well-known ones in India who basically take the order, but they do not let the retailer, the trader, know exactly which customer has ordered. They just know that it's an order, you have to deliver it to this marketplace's warehouse, and they will carry it forward further. So for a trader, it's not a completely unified experience. The only unification they have is my store information and my own online platform. I can make that customer and inventory common. But these marketplaces, I can't do it. So to have a true unified experience, you're going to have to be able to get the information of these marketplaces. I think to me, that's a big challenge for the small traders who can't invest in their own online platform, hence they go to marketplaces, hence they can never get to this unified experience.
Yeah, just would like to add here about the third-party marketplaces that you talked about. So as I was mentioning earlier also, now the e-commerce, third-party e-commerce players also have started changing their model. Now they expect you to deliver directly to the customer. So they share that customer data with you individually, not in the bulk format. But at the same time, as I said, unified commerce, it sounds like a very good solution. And as we all know that nobody can stop the idea whose time has come. So if unified commerce does make inroads into retail, then I think even the marketplaces and all other guys will also have to join hands, and they will have to start sharing, because this will benefit them also in turn.
Yeah, okay. I mean, while we are a little skeptical, I think one thing we as physical retailers will have to probably learn is whether we like it or no, the online players are definitely very strongly getting offline. And there is a lot more integration in their systems, which is the single window view between customers online and offline. And my own experience with brands like Nykaa, already at a very, Pepperfry for example, at a very fast pace are able to integrate the offline and online. Because we think very traditionally, sometimes it may so happen that we are waiting for the time to come. But actually what will happen is parallelly we'll start seeing a lot of play even in the same malls, where 30% of the retailers tomorrow could be online, offline, which didn't start as offline players, but started as online players, became offline players, where the integration is fantastic. In fact, yesterday I was talking to Nykaa, and they were saying that 10% of their business already on the offline platform comes from online, in the offline platform. And 29% of their online customers are coming to their offline stores. So what I'm saying is, you know, the journey has started. I think it is important for us to understand all the brass tacks of what are the ups and downs and pitfalls of it. But I think it's faster we get there as collectively the offline community and the online community, I think the better it would be and faster it would be for the journey.
Thanks. What I would gather from all this is, and I take that point particularly, nobody can stop an idea whose time has come. So unified commerce is something which is one of the developments happening today. We believe it's a solution or an approach to serve customers which can address some of the challenges and expectations at the same time. We also heard about some of the challenges we need to address about privacy, about integration, about e-commerce and so on, that will need to be addressed. But that's where we are. As we move forward, it's open for us, all of us, to see over the next couple of years how unified commerce moves forward. Thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for the panelists.